What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another NBA Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I have Hoop and Tyler with me, and we had an exciting night of basketball down in Atlanta last night. The Bucks were able to take over. Chris Middleton finally had a signature game there in the playoffs to prove his All-Star status. Hoop, what did you think of the game last night, and where do you think the series goes from here?
Yeah, I mean it's going to be tough for the Hawks. I mean it was nice for them to get that win with a game one that they won, but last night having that lead and then letting the game slip, I mean, is probably the nail in the coffin for them, unfortunately. But I'm not super high on the Bucks. We assume that it's going to be Suns Bucks in this next round. If they continue to play Brook Lopez, which they're going to, and if they do face the Suns, in the finals, Bud's going to keep Lopez out there to guard Ayton. I think the Suns might smoke them, to be honest with you. But these series are still 3-1. Like I said, anything could happen. But I think we're going to see Suns Bucks last night, like you said. Brook Lopez in there, minus 17 plus minus for Brook Lopez when he was out there. They weren't good. When he was on the bench, they were better. Bud's not a smart coach, though. I mean, we've seen it. He's one of these fake. Everyone used to think he was one of the smartest coaches. He's just not. He's not very smart and continues to play Brook Lopez. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, that was probably the nail in the coffin, though, for the Hawks. I mean, if they get that game, they got a chance. They lose that game, I don't think they have much of a chance now.
All right, Tyler, what did you think of the game last night? A huge takeaway, right, has to be Bogdanovich not being 100%. We talked about his points as a second option. 5 from 30 from three-point range for the series so far. Giannis, by comparison, is 5 of 17. If Giannis is out shooting Bogdanovich, the Hawks are in trouble. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you could just tell Bogdanovich is still hurt. But I mean, this Bucks team has just been a thorn in my side all playoffs. Like, I'm one game late on props with these guys. We tried Middleton in games 1 and 2. He's nowhere to be found. So we tried Drew in game 3. He disappears, and Middleton shows up. I'm glad we got the -4.5 home, though. But just like Hoop said, I don't trust this team, and I think the Suns smoke them too. And I'm starting to train here. Ayton's going to win MVP next round in that matchup at 24-1. He's going to dominate Lopez. They're going to put Middleton on Booker and Holiday on Paul. If he stops Giannis in the paint too and they win that series, I think he hoists that trophy up at the end. So instead of taking him a +110, you just bet him to win the MVP.
Man, hold on, guys. I'm sending a link to Title right now. I think you think you guys are ganging up on me here. No, I'm just kidding. You guys make some great points there. I mean, there are going to be some issues. I mean, my main pushback, and we can get into that series right now, is the Suns really. I mean, their wins to me, the Lakers right now is the most impressive one, just because LeBron is LeBron and has the ability to take over.
What has Milwaukee done that impresses you?
Beat Miami Heat in 4 games.
Well, I mean, the one thing, though, both these teams have run incredibly well with their opponents throughout the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, basically every single run. The Suns, they get the Lakers without Anthony Davis. I mean, the Lakers were completely dust at that point. They get with the Nuggets the next round, no Jamal. I mean, half their other key guys out. And then they fall into this situation, no Kawhi. The Bucks, on the other hand, I mean, they would have easily. I mean, if Harden or Kyrie are healthy that entire series, I think they get absolutely stomped in that series. They only had Kevin Durant. The other two, Harden injured all series. Kyrie only good for a couple games. Both these teams have run incredibly, incredibly well with their opponents. So we can say I totally agree. The Suns have definitely run even better than the Bucks, but the Bucks have run pretty well too.
Yeah, no, they have. I mean, even we talked about earlier, Bogdanovich being hurt could be the difference in that series, right? If he's just 12 from 30, right? A couple of these games go a different way, namely game 3. Game 3 would be the one, I guess, since they blew him out in game 2 and won game 1. Yeah, but it's going to be really interesting, and I can't wait to really break this series down if that's what ends up being there. But for it to be there, the Clippers the Phoenix Suns will have to beat the Clippers either this evening or on Wednesday. I've already been messaging with Tyler Hoop. I'm not a big Clippers believer. I'm setting up a hiking trip for Wednesday because I don't think that we're going to be on the air doing NBA rundown. I think that the Suns get it done tonight. So my question for you is, in what manner do they get it done? Do they cover the 6.5 or no?
Seems like a pretty fair number, the 6.5. And like I said, my attention is already kind of focused on to the next round. I mean, these individual games, the 3-1 games are the toughest for me. Like 3-0, I feel a lot better about. 3-1 are tough because you just don't know what you're gonna get with the opponent. With the Clippers, obviously, do they think they have a chance in this game? Does Paul George think he can carry this team to win 3 in a row? I'd say he probably doesn't think that. No Kawhi Leonard, very tough. The team, I don't know. I think I would probably bet the Suns here, and just hope that the Clippers kind of just give in. That being said, my favorite bet at this point, though, right now, is just to bet the Suns to win it. I mean, I think it's safe to assume that the Bucks and the Suns get there. It's basically even money. I feel best putting my money on that opposed to this individual game. And I don't know. What do you guys think? The 6.5 just seems like right where it should be. I don't know. Maybe you guys have a stronger take on it. I really don't.
I think the Suns win. I'm tempted towards taking the points with the Clippers. I feel like they're going to lose another close heartbreaker, right? Where Paul George is going to miss some key shots at the end with the game on the line. Obviously they're going to give it all tonight, and it's not like the Suns have blown them out yet, right? I think they've won by 1, 3, and 6 so far. So they've been close games even in the 3 victories. Tyler, what do you think here?
You want to hear a crazy stat?
Yeah,
the Clippers have outscored the Suns in this series.
That makes sense.
And they're down 3-1,
right?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's 6.5. I'm seeing 5.5 on DraftKings, so there's got to be some Clippers money coming in. Mm-hmm. I like the Suns here. I mean, we seen that quote from Paul George. I'll read it back. Where's it at? He said, basically, it was LeBron's quote from a couple years ago where he lost the finals. He says, "It's on to the next one. As a veteran, you just learn not to let games linger. I've done a good job of doing that. I still live a wonderful life and have an amazing family on top of any of the outcomes of this game." Yeah. He's done. He gives up.
I told Tyler before the game, that's the type of messages I send my girlfriend when I'm like on a 4-game losing streak.
Yeah.
Say, well, at least I have the family. I appreciate, you guys in my
life.
At
home to fall back.
Yeah. I said, family's what really matters.
He's given up. And then what was it, last game? A possible 576 minutes in the last 23 days. He played 495 of them. Tack on another 40 minutes. Yeah. Tack on another 42 2 nights ago. Those legs are done. We see it. He can't make any threes. I don't think they keep this game close. I think the Suns blow him out. I'd probably lay that 5.5. But right. I think we go right back to the 8 in props here. I think he just dominates. They've ticked it up to 17.5. I think you still take the over.
All right, over on the 8 in props. But if we're going for your blowout script here, I kind of like the under here. Obviously, it's taking a ton of money. But it finished at 164 last game, and it's at 214 right now. Hoop, do you think that this game goes under?
Yeah, I'd probably go the under. Just the way the series is shaping up, and the fact I think I think this game has the potential to turn into a blowout, which is probably good for the under. I would go the under here.
All right, Tyler, what do you think?
If we're taking that approach with Paul George, that he's kind of mentally checked out, for the Clippers to really score at a consistent rate, they need a Paul George that's 100% invested in this. And that quote does not sound very promising. I hate to, predicate, my thoughts on this game based on a quote, but that makes sense. He's looking on to, the off season here. He's not thinking about getting to the NBA Finals and meeting up with the Bucks, which most likely would be the case.
Yeah, I'm sure Travis Van Gogh is watching this and just rubbing his hands together as we're using press conference quotes for our handicap. All right, let us jump in because I should have sent you the link earlier while we were going over this. But Tyler and I were creating some lineups tonight here. So we're at showdown format again, which is weird for me because it seems like it's really hard to take down the big prize. Every night I look, and I've been playing the $4 one, and it seems like first place is tied between like 20 people every night. It's really hard to differentiate and get different. So it's going to be hard to take it down on your own, but you can still get a winner and cash some things. Let's go ahead and talk about like who would you put into a who would you put in your captain slot tonight? Like I was thinking of DeAndre Ayton. I did that last game. It worked out pretty well for me, although I think Zubac's captain was the winning lineup. Who are you looking for in the captain slot tonight?
Yeah, so I mean, the first thing you want to do, which obviously Big T has had a ton of success in these showdowns, this playoffs and showdowns in general. You really want to, in your head, build a narrative and the game script and how you think this game plays out. So, if we think that the Clippers get blown out here, you're going to want to take a look at some Suns. You're going to want to be Suns heavy, and then your Clippers exposure is going to want to be some guys that potentially come off the bench. The majority of your salary wants to be spent on Suns guys, which is what I'd probably be looking to do today. So a guy like Ayton, I think for sure makes a ton of sense. Just absolutely dominating in this series. A guy that I'd probably take off my list of players is I probably really wouldn't go to Chris Paul here, regardless. If it's a blowout, I don't think he's the first, Suns main guy that I probably would want out. Terrence Mann is another guy that kind of, I think, ends up getting a big role here. He's blowout proof. He's going to play probably 30 minutes, regardless of whether or not this game is a blowout. If it's not a blowout, he's going to play 30 minutes. If it is a blowout, he could potentially get into the mid-30s. So Terrence Mann's a guy I'm definitely keeping an eye out for. But in terms of the cap, I think you can go back to Zubac too. I mean, he's priced at, if you put Zubac in the captain spot, you're still left with about $8,000 per roster spot, which you can get, 4 other high upside guys. So Zubac on the Clippers would probably be the only guy I probably put in the captain spot. Ayton, I think, is deserving of a look. Booker, I wouldn't even mind doing a Terrence Mann captain. Gets you quite a bit of, different things that you can do with your lineup. So it's kind of my thoughts here right out of the gate.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be hard to get different tonight. I mean, these rotations are so short. I mean, it's hard to really take a punt on these, real low guys, right? Like Cousins, you could have punted, but I don't really see him getting a lot of minutes. Torrey Craig's out of the rotation, so it's really hard to get different here. Tyler, what were some of your thoughts? And like, I'm seeing Reggie Jackson sitting here at about 8,600. Do you think Reggie Jackson has a big game, Tyler?
I mean, he could. One of these guys are going to have to step up if Paul George is really tired. But Reggie Jackson's played a ton of minutes too. So I like Hoop's look on Terrence Mann. I mean, he's probably got the freshest legs out of any of these Clippers guys. So, and he's going to play a ton. The shots are going to be there for him. He's just got to put them down. And he's probably the cheapest out of those guys. So, yeah, he'd be my look. I kind of like Chris Paul tonight, though, because this is one of them games where I think it rubs me as like he's going to go out there. It's his first game back in Phoenix since the 9th of this month. That place is going to be going nuts. He took 19 shots and 22 shots in his 2 games against the Clippers in LA. No, he shot terribly. You got to think some of them shots fall better at home. I think he might put up like 25 to 30 points tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that it comes down to how bad you think this blowout is. Obviously, Hoop brings up great points. He is going, if it's a 15 to 20 point win, you're not going to see a lot of Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Right? They're hanging around the 8 to 12 point range. Monty Williams is going to keep them in. They don't want to go back to LA. They don't want to extend this. I mean, the worst case scenario for Phoenix would be to trip up on this game, and then all of a sudden Kawhi Leonard rolls back out in Game 6, which I think that he's completely done for the season. But that has to be in the back of your mind as something you don't want to gamble with, right? I mean, almost like with a flush on the board, just go ahead and shove and don't let your opponent try and draw out at you, right? I think that they need to shove here. So, barring a big blowout, so that'll be interesting. I mean, and the good thing is, of course, we can also do multiple lineups, so you can do one, where you fade Paul, and then one where you throw him as the captain, and you're kind of getting both the best of both worlds here. So, Hoop, let me ask you about tomorrow real quick, and then we'll move on to the best bets. I was wrong. I thought Atlanta was going to take money here. This line opened at 5.5, and I said it's going to get bet down. It'll be back to to 5 by the morning. Eight got the overnight bettors who usually take dogs took Milwaukee, and now it's out to 6. Do you think this is because of Trae Young like rolling his ankle on the ref, or like this line move surprised me? What do you make of it?
Yeah. Again, they seem pretty spot on for me here, and I think where did it open at 5.5? You said?
Yeah.
Yeah, opened at 5.5. Yeah, I'm not too surprised. I mean, people saw the Bucks just kind of turn it on at the end of the game, and they had all the momentum at the end of that game. So,
Yeah.
I think most people are just going to think, all right, that momentum carries into game 3 or to game 4. The Bucks are just the better team. They're going to win the next 2. So the way that the Bucks won that game, they were behind and then made the comeback in the 4th. I think people are kind of banking on them carrying that momentum into the next game. So I'm not too surprised with that 6. Probably stay right around there. I mean, we don't see tons of movement on these games all that much. So I think 6 is a fair number, and it probably will stay right around there.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. And so we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll have Tyler, Travis, and JSU to break down that game, and maybe look ahead to a game 5 or talk about where I'm going hiking. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you are subscribed to the Run Pure Bets channel. Hey, and go ahead and give a like the video while you are doing that. Let's go on to the best bet segment. It's going to be a quick show today, but hey, we're down to one game a day, and we've talked about these games a lot. I think you guys have a pretty good idea of how we rate these players, how we rate these teams, and how we rate these matchups. So let's get straight to the picks. Hoop, we'll start with you, and I'll let you use tomorrow as well because, we don't have a lot to choose from. But best bet, side total or prop, what do you got?
Yeah, so my best bet at this point, like I said, it was in the opening, is I think the Suns win this game tonight. So I think it ends up being a blowout. So I like the Suns. I'm gonna say the Suns minus the 5.5. That's what I'm seeing it at. But my favorite play in the NBA at this point is the Suns to win it all. I'm assuming the Suns get there. I'm assuming the Bucks get there. It's even money. I just think the Suns are going to have the matchup advantage. I think Budenholzer continues to play. So in that next matchup, it's going to be DeAndre Ayton coming off this great series so far that we've seen. In Coach Bud's head, he's going to say, man, we need Brook Lopez in this series. We need him out there to slow down Ayton. That is completely detrimental to the Bucks. Like, they will get punished if Brook Lopez is out there all series long. So I just think it's a big advantage for the Suns. I like the Suns tonight to win, but even more so, I like the Suns to win the championship.
Yeah, and I understand some of your points. One thing I would say is I think that Lopez is better than any of the options the Clippers have for him.
Very possible. But
I mean, he's just feasting right now. I mean, let's see what he does against a guy his own size and his own strength. Also, a little bit of guile there too. Kind of joke around. The guy with the Stanford education is the one who passed up the 3-point shot in that game 5 that almost stole my soul a little while back, but they're able to get past it. So we don't talk about it. I think that the Lopez minutes won't be as bad as you are expecting, but that's definitely something to keep an eye on because the way that matchup goes is going to be, pretty, indicative of how the series goes. I would agree. I think that, Middleton and Holiday can give Booker some problems. Paul's going to be able to get his no matter what because he's so crafty. Giannis, you can just pencil him in for 30 and 10 every night, right? I mean, he's been pretty consistent. So that's going to be a lot of fun there. So I'll look forward to having you back, and we'll be able to, come on. And hopefully that's the series that we're previewing. That I got the big Bucks future, so I'd like to see them advance. And at this point, barring a crazy win tonight and Leonard coming back, I really don't see how the Suns don't advance, and I think they probably do get it done tonight. Tyler, what's your best bet tip for today? You only get today because you're back on with me tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I'll be back on tomorrow.
So you only get to choose from today.
We're just going to stick with what's won this series every game, and that's Ayton's points prop. Take it right over. It's over 17.5. Probably puts up 20 tonight. But we're also going to take one of them player performance doubles. Chris Paul, 25-plus points, and they win the game. It's sitting at about plus 680 on FanDuel right now. I think that's definitely worth a shot. He's going to shoot the ball a ton. If those mid-ranges are falling, he's going to soar over that number like he did in Game 4 against the Nuggets when he put up, I think, 37.
Yeah. I mean, when you're relying on Reggie Jackson as the primary defender, it's not the best situation for Ty Lue to be in. And talk about going back to what works, right? Only one game went over so far. It was game one. Every other game has continued to go under, and you just watch the scores you just dropped. Now, do I think it'll be lower than 164 this time? I doubt it. But 214, still 50 points higher than what they finished that last game. Go ahead and give me the under for my best bet. And, guys, quick show today, but, we gave you the information. Get it out there. Give you plenty of time to get on your day and still place these bets, cash these winners, and enjoy the game this evening. Hoop, wanted to thank you for coming on tonight. I know that not only have you been doing pretty well in the NBA, you're pretty good on the Bates Pass as well. Do you want to let everyone know where they can find some of that content this week? And I know that you've been crushing the MLB, so I definitely think that people are going to want to see where you're going as you're building these lineups this week.
Yeah, we got the MLB show. I believe that we bumped it back a little bit. 4:30 Eastern time, the first show, and then the premium show starts at 6 Eastern. Big T, JSU, and Holden. They'll be talking MLB and NBA, so you can kind of get both for the price of one. But yeah, we got that schedule basically all week. PGA coming up, so a lot of good stuff over at runpuresports.com.
Yep, that is right. And we will be transitioning here. One of the things that we will be doing. So I said Wednesdays, if the Clippers lose, Wednesday's going to be off. And that also means no game on Friday. But we talked to AP, so we'll still give you guys a show. We'll talk some basketball as well. But we'll jump on and we'll discuss some Wimbledon. We'll give out some bets for the Wimbledon the next day. If the lineups are out for DraftKings, we'll give out plays for Wimbledon DraftKings lineup. And Hoop, I know you're pretty influential in the DFS community. I'd like your help on this. I need DraftKings to separate the men's and the women's on the tennis.
I saw you tweeting about that. Yeah.
Like, we don't have WNBA and NBA on the same one. Like, it's the same sport, but it's not, and it's just tough for me because I know the women's side so well, but it's hard because the men, they play the extra set. They get so many more aces that I feel like I'm operating at a disadvantage. I'm like, man, if they just only had WTA only tourneys, I would be so happy. So go ahead and contact your rep and let them know that's what we're interested.
It would kind of be like for PGA if they combine PGA and the LPGA, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's the only sport where they do that. They don't combine NBA and WNBA, So anyways, reach out to your rep and get that taken care of for me. Tyler, the prop king, the boy genius. We will be back tomorrow. We'll have JSU and Mangone. And Mangone was fired up on his last appearance on the Sports Keg, right? So hopefully we'll get some of that same fire. Everybody, thank you for hanging out. Hoop, thanks for coming on and giving out some winners. And we will be back tomorrow at the same time. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel.